As a moving business owner, your day starts with a plan. But what happens when your movers don't show and that plan falls apart? Last minute no-shows. You're left to bootstrap, jumping in as an extra body. Yet sometimes, even that's not enough. This isn't just a disruption, it's a barrier to your business growth. Introducing Moving Force, your on-demand moving team. With Moving Force, say goodbye to no-shows and hello to peace of mind. With reliable, on-demand staff ensures you're never undermanned, turning your operational nightmares into a thing of the past. Moving Force, where every day is moving day and every move is smooth. Empower your business and keep growing without missing a beat. Join Moving Force today and move forward with confidence.
Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. Sorry about being late. Time definitely got away from me this morning. But yeah, I hope everybody's having a decent summer. I've been speaking to a lot of moving companies in the South area to be specific, and none of them are having really the summer that they're expected to have. And but we'll get into that part of it. Again, I'm Dwyght with Moving Force. We got Ryan Marsh with SuperMove. And we got some stuff to go over. So,
Boy,
but we'll start off with Ryan first. Ryan, where's things at right now currently?
well, it's interesting you say obviously different markets. You mentioned down south not having the summer that they're typically used to having. I've been to 4 moving companies over the past couple days. Got to walk through their operations, sit with their teams, their office staff, their sales team, their leadership, and even talking to the warehouse guys and crew leads, and they're cranking away. I mean, the one organization, again, 15 trucks, all 15 trucks were out yesterday. The other organization, 17 trucks. I think there was 15 or 16 trucks out Tuesday. I'm losing track of days here. Today's Thursday. So yeah, it would have been Tuesday. So again, maybe it's just a coincidence, but the companies I've been visiting up here in the Northeast, we're talking Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse area, are pretty well off right now. They've got a lot of business going on,
Okay, so
which
what
is
do you think is
great to see.
what do you think is the difference maker?
Different markets, man. I would say. I mean, obviously, if you're talking Florida specifically, I mean, there's so much competition down there. Ton of rogue movers, ton of pop-up fly-by-night moving organizations and things like that. So I'm sure they're taking taking up a little bit of market share. Um, but no, man, every market's a little bit different. And you saw it when you were in the business. There were times that, our company was a little bit slow, but my partnering agency that was in Ohio or Virginia was just absolutely cranking, and then flip the script a week later, we're booked out and they're not. So, um, I
Yeah,
don't know. I'm
it's
seeing a lot of upside from my visits here. And again, I've got 100 and probably just shy of 200 more moving companies at a minimum that I'll be visiting and walking through and touring operations this summer. So we'll kind of see what it all looks like, towards the end. So still a little bit early in peak here, end of June, but yeah, I think we kind of predicted a while back that it was going to be kind of a delayed peak, if I can remember, many, many, many episodes ago. But
yeah, so I would say um even when I had I guess one of my worst summers, it was still never that bad, like, and when I talk about my worst summer, I'm talking about Google. We didn't even have a Google profile. So customers couldn't even find us on Google for like 2 months.
damn.
And we still had a relatively pretty good summer, and that obviously came from marketing leads. But it was I try to avoid putting all my eggs in one basket. Don't get me wrong, Google will be stressful. If you're not showing up on Google, that is a stress by every mean, because you're like, well, that's where people search. That's a search engine. Nobody uses Bing like that unless it's on your phone, and even then you get mad that it's on your device. You try to switch to Google. Um, I'm just like, geez, we're not even showing up. Our Bing reviews aren't the same as Google reviews. Who really provides reviews on Bing? You know,
Yeah.
so, but again, we still never had like a slow summer where it felt like it was like the winter, or pre preseason. Yeah, I started to said it that way because I'm like, yeah, but
I feel like the emphasis is, it's always put so much pressure put on for moving companies to put on peak season. And I feel like that pressure could be alleviated if there was a little bit more, if they had more work to do throughout the year.
hmm
Right? I remember the early days of my moving career where it was like, we were dead many, many months, like didn't have a, job or two a day, if that. And then peak came and it was like full metal jacket, the wind's blowing all over the place. You're running 1,000 miles an hour trying to make up for all that lost time throughout the rest of the year. So super thankful that we were very well diversified. We got to that point where, peak season was critical, but it wasn't as critical as you see a lot of movers really positioning everything around just that peak season aspect. So
yeah, and I do think it's all about systems, and we've talked about this many episodes. It's all about systems and processes. Obviously, if you have your systems dialed in year round, then this doesn't become an issue during this time of the year. And, obviously some people, it's been in a rough spot where they had to cut their marketing and, that's like death. You never cut your marketing. If you can cut anything else, don't cut marketing. And that's why I feel like a lot of people are kind of not in a good spot right now as far as their company goes, is because their marketing is taking a dip. No, you don't need the expensive Google ads per se. No, you don't need to be doing necessarily all Facebook ads. You kind of need a variety to be where your customers are. That's one of the things we focused on in the off season more than the summer. Is where's our customers at right now? Whether it's locally or whether it's, people coming into the area. And we need to figure out exactly where these people are going. Are they going on social media? Are they looking for movers on social media? I don't really see too many customers asking about movers on social media. Are they going to your local chambers, which obviously I don't think they are either. So most
I'll
of
tell you, don't sleep on that. I
the
thought the same thing. Like, who goes to their chamber to get like information on services to use and what have you? I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked at how many people request information. Again, I can only speak on behalf of the Chemung County Chamber, right? I know every chamber of commerce. There's some that are extremely active in the community, and there's some that are kind of they just kind of cruise, we'll say. Our chamber is very, very active, like super stupid active, like constant events. Like it's where it's at. And I can't tell you how much business I pull out of our chamber. Period.
Mhm.
Not just from attending events, but getting that call. Hey, I got your sheet inside the pamphlet from the chamber. And I was at that moment, I'm like, Jesus, like you actually all read through that stuff? Like,
Yeah.
holy cow. But yeah, don't again, depends on your chamber. But if you've got a chamber in your area that's active, A, be a part of it, and two, you'll reap the benefits of it. But don't sleep on the chambers, man. That's a whole nother avenue.
Yeah. So, hey, if it works in your area, it works. But again, see where your customers are going. Make sure that you guys are everywhere that your customers going. Hey, your customer is going to U-Haul. Okay, whether you want to be associated with moving help or not, that is solely up to you. But if you can drop off some cards at your local U-Haul place because maybe you've built that connection with the manager there, maybe they'll pass your card information along. And we've gotten a lot of direct business through U-Haul because of that exact approach. We didn't necessarily get them through their brother company, Moving Help. So it was kind of good. We got them either way. We were affiliated with Moving Help, but we also direct. So it just depends on the connections. Are you getting out there? Are you, making good relationships with the people, your vendors that you're renting trucks from? And if you are, they're gonna, in most cases, they don't mind if you market there. Are you getting to your local storage facilities and just talking to the people there and seeing if you can post some cards so when people come into self-storage, hey, they may need movers. This company may be able to put your card in a position in their store, maybe near their boxes or somewhere where, hey, oh snap, there's movers. let me see this card. And then maybe they'll Google review you and hopefully you got great reviews. And then they'll, again, that's more jobs. So sometimes, yes, you have to beat the pavement, get out there, make connections, put yourself in front of where people are going. We used to even post tear off flyers and laundromats. Didn't know what type of business we would get if we did that, but
Yeah.
we did do that, and we try to see if people would just tear off our information and give us a call. Hey, it's one more job that we didn't have.
I had good luck with the local storage facilities around here, but it took a lot of work to go into it. I let the store, anytime I referred a customer to a storage unit, and obviously I try to get them to go into our storage first, right? But again, depending on their situation, how much access do they need? How many touch points do they need? If it wasn't going to be a good fit for us, I had the one facility that was kind of kitty corner to us. And I made sure I let that facility know anytime I referred a customer there and they bought that unit or rented that unit, I made sure I went over to Larry and, hey, Larry, that customer Dwight right there, I sent him to you, and just kind of slowly built that relationship to the point where he did. He let me advertise in there. And then it got to the point where anytime he had somebody come in, part of his presentation to them about, some of the many amazing things that they do at this storage facility, how they have it laid out, the 24/7 office staff. But oh yeah, we also have a concierge moving as well. And that was kind of plugged into us. So he kind of gave his new customers all sorts of different options, as well as included us in that package there. Took a few months to build that relationship. I had to send him quite a few customers, but after that, we used to take quite a few calls from that facility.
Yeah, I think ours was very, very corporate, but it was also self kiosk. So it was kind of like a little hard to do that one, but we definitely brought them a lot of business for sure with regards to that. Like we was even to the point where it was like, hey, make sure you keep some units available for us because we got some customers coming in, you know. So I was super excited about that. I wish we had more space in our warehouse to, vault them and put them in our warehouse, but it was just it wasn't the right setup for to have like 20 to 50 volts. It would have been a nightmare trying to get a forklift in that bad boy, trying to maneuver.
Yeah, I'd say that's the other thing, the other kind of eye-opening, so it's really cool to get to walk through, and become a mover again that day, but with the lens and hat on of a previous mover, a super move worker, and almost I put my consumer hat on as well. The storage aspect to me is crazy though. There are some companies I've walked through that have like 3,000 square foot and they've got just a couple vaults and really no storage. And then there's companies that are right down the road that have, 40, 50,000 square foot facility that's absolutely chocked full with storage. It's just so crazy to see the difference in these organizations. But I mean, storage was critical for us. If you've got the opportunity to provide storage, that's just that reoccurring revenue, man. That's great. No touch. It sits. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Gotcha. All right, y'all. So remember, 2 weeks from today, we will be going live with our reunion episode. Our 100 episode celebration, which is our 100 episode is today. So woohoo! But we
Is
will
it?
be celebrating the reunion of this in 2 weeks. We're gonna have some major guests coming back, some golden nuggets to drop. It is free for you to attend, so we do hope to see ya there. And hopefully you'll be seeing it all over the place. And yeah, ask whatever questions y'all need to ask on that day. In the meantime, so with Moving Force is fully live. We are continually updating the app, making sure that we can provide the essential services that you guys need. We are looking for moving companies in the Florida market. So if you are that company, definitely reach out to us if you can use some labor help. Um, and we are actively recruiting to make sure that you guys get the proper guys that you need in your market. We actually just started our screening process to making sure that these guys aren't just or ladies, we ain't biased, aren't aren't not wrong word. So they are vetted to the point where they know what moving is. We've been seeing a lot of people that just applied it because they just want a job, but then, don't have no moving experience. And, that doesn't help nobody. So we are actually screening them, making sure that they are, have some sort of movement experience. Then we're tightening up the screws to make sure that they are good to go out and service you. So definitely reach out. Let us know. We are offering the first 5 to 10 moving companies who book their first service with us a rebate as well as 1 month access to our marketing program, specifically our marketing training program that's specific to moving companies. So if your marketing isn't dialed in right now, this is the program for you to tighten up your screws in marketing. But yeah, reach out to me anytime. We'll go over further details.
When your team isn't trained, mistakes happen. Jobs go wrong. Customers complain. And your business? It suffers. At Max Moving Training, we help moving companies like yours build strong, reliable teams from the inside out. From mover and driver training to sales, operations, marketing, and leadership. We give your people the skills to succeed. When everyone is trained, everything runs smoother and your business grows stronger. Training isn't optional. It's essential. Stop guessing. Start training. Join Max Moving Training today.
Um, but back to the episode. Uh, so yeah, we're super excited, Ryan, as far as moving force goes, because it's been extremely busy the last few days. I told you I would touch points of, what's been working a lot better. Um, And I think it's just, again, anybody that has a company, if you realize that you've been trying a certain approach and it isn't working, revamp it. Make sure that, it's like test, tweak, and track. If you're doing some sort of marketing or whatever the case is, and you realize that you're not able to track who's calling you from that source, you know, try what we call it. What do they call that? Tracking numbers, right? Yeah, try tracking numbers. So like for your social media, if you do social media post on Facebook, get a tracking number on your Facebook so that and you could title it Facebook. So when somebody calls you on your answer machine, it's going to say Facebook first. And then when you speak to the person, you're going to be able to say, "Oh, hey, how are you? Where did you find us at?" And they're going to be like, "Oh, well, I found you on Google." Damn well they lied because they first seen you on Facebook, and that's how they got your number. So that's how you could kind of track your sources versus just putting everything on Google, because now you're going to say Google is, oh, they're amazing. They're doing an amazing job. But people went from Facebook to check your Google reviews before they called you, but they still had that same number, so they called you off that number. Same thing with postcards. They looked at your postcard and maybe that QR code took them to your website, and then they called you from your website or your postcard number, and then they told you they found you on your website. So it's kind of like weird, but it's one of those things where you want to track a direct source because then you want to know that, hey, Facebook is working, Instagram is working, postcards, not so much. So tracking numbers, you can get tracking numbers from a company called CallRail. I haven't used them in a very long time, but I believe that they had some really good rates over there for their call tracking numbers. So definitely check that out. Anything on your end, Ryan?
No, man, I'm with you, man. Attach those UTMs to all your marketing efforts. I mean, I feel like those UTMs are your secret weapon for tracking your effectiveness of every marketing channel that you're diving into. No, that's key.
All right, all right. Dude, that was the shortest answer Ryan ever had.
I try and
Um,
keep it short now.
so remember, we are only doing a half an hour, y'all. So definitely, if you got any questions, definitely ask your questions. We'd love to get your feedback on things that's working, maybe not working, and ultimately look to turn that whole concept around. Um, but for those, again, I've only been speaking to a lot of moving companies that sadly aren't doing that well. Some are, some seem bigger than they are, which is another thing. You know, and I think it's like when you got all these call prompts, so like when you call a company and they're like, "Oh, press 1 for sales, press 2 for operations, plus 3," and damn well they got 3 people in their host location. Uh, but and then it was also frowned upon at one point in time having 800 numbers. And I see a lot of companies with 800 numbers, and it's like, is that a thing? Like, did something change, or maybe they didn't get the memo, or you
Well,
know,
I'd say back in the day, we had like a Binghamton number, an Elmira number, an Ithaca number, a Syracuse number, almost so you can kind of feel local within those areas. And eventually I just end up wiping those all out. And we just had our main line. Yeah, we even had the 800 number too. So we had all sorts of numbers like that. And yeah, we ended up just basically tailing right down to just to one number.
yeah. And we had the one number as well for like our local. So if people called our New York location, it did prompt them like, hey, do you want sales for New York or do you want sales for Florida? And so I get them to the right department. But technically, the whole sales team was in one area. It was just they weren't like some were suitable for sales in Florida, and some were suitable for sales in New York. So kind of make sure that they were trained in that way where, hey, you can't say sell the same rates that you sell in New York and Florida. Don't think you're gonna get service.
Yeah.
I think when Florida was one of the toughest things because competing with people that were charging $105 an hour with a truck, I was just like,
Crazy.
I can't compete with that. Like, and then they had a 2 hour mini at that. Like, how do you have a 2 hour mini? What the heck? Are you making
That's crazy. No, I'm not getting out of bed for less than a grand.
it?
Another job, just 1,200 bucks. No way. I'm not doing the 1 2 hour two.
Yeah, so make sure that you guys got your minis down, impact your minis in place as well. 2 hour minis are is great. If you want to be busy with 1 to 2 bedrooms all day long. But if you really want to get dialed in where you guys aren't burnt out in this time of year, if you're not busy and you need the volume, go after it. But at the same token, be smart because that same 4 hour job is the same as that 2 hour job. So just make sure that, hey, in the summertime, you do 1 3 hour mini or 1 4 hour mini, but that it doesn't mean it has to be a mini. It could be like, okay, well, hey, it's a 3 hour minimum, but this job is going to take us 6 7 hours. So just understand that having minimums kind of like set the precedence for what type of move you want to go into, but the job can be an all day job. So we used to say, hey, if our guys got at least a minimum of 4 hours for the day, even though it's like a half a day, because technically a full day, 8 hours, we were somewhat okay. We just didn't want to get them like, oh, well, in a hot summer, let's get them out there for 10 hours over a course of 2 moves, not including their breaks that they took. It was just going to get ridiculous. So having your minimums where like Ryan might have mentioned, I think he did like 3 or 4 hour minimums.
Are you in search of a side gig? Get ready to land the ultimate side hustle. Don't let this opportunity slip away. Join Moving Force as a mobile mover. Enjoy the freedom to set your own hours, earn excellent income, and be your own boss. Apply now. Download the app for free, available on the App Store. It's time to make a move, both figuratively and literally.
We had 4 hour minimum in off peak and a 6 hour minimum during peak.
Jeez. So again, if these customers are buying, why not? A 6 hour minimum. If the job is just 6 hours, that is a day. That is a day for the crew.
Today.
Now,
Well,
also,
we were obviously I don't want to say gearing away from a particular type of business or whatever, but we're at the point because we're so well diversified as we didn't want to take those 2 hour jobs, those 3 hour jobs, those four. Why do that when we could take a $2,500 commercial move that's two guys in a truck making a couple deliveries that day? It's going to take those guys 4 hours to make those couple deliveries, $2,500 versus doing back to back 2 hour locals, 4 hour locals, or whatever the case was. There's more revenue for us. So we did catch a lot of brushback, I would say, initially when we went and switched because we used to be 2 hour minimum, 4 hour minimum, off peak and non peak. But once we did, we always had these, hey, can you move a couch here and there? Can you move this bed and dresser here and there? And we're filling our schedule up with these little small jobs that just didn't really fit the need of what we were looking to go after. So once we raised those minimums, but because we were diversified, we still got those jobs, right? It wasn't like it was now moving a couch and a dresser for 6 hour minimum. That rarely happened. I will tell you that. But
Yeah, so I would say what we did for small little job delivery jobs like that, we would schedule them on a specific day. We would say like, hey, Wednesday is our small job day. Kind of give the guys a rest in the middle of the week. Probably even give some of the guys a day off. And we would say Wednesday, we're going to stack this up with minis. So we're going to have, oh, you got a 2 hour mini on Wednesday? All right, cool. What else we got after that? Oh, we got one piece, two-piece move. All right, we're going to double that up right after that. And we just kind of like just stack them on one day, and we steer our customers to that one day. Like, hey, this is going to be your small job. We just don't want to tie it up with our busier week. We're going to put you on Wednesday. Oh, can you do Wednesday? If you can't do Wednesday, then unfortunately, we're not gonna sit here and tie up our weeks because we got a big job on Monday. Now we got to figure out where we're gonna squeeze you at. It just didn't make any sense. Um, but geez, Ryan left me on that one. That was a good one.
you
Um,
good.
but no, so yeah. Oh, the other side to it is make sure your guys are conditioned enough to work those long days. The worst thing is these guys are always, and I'm not the only one, these guys are always telling you, I want hours, I want hours. And you hit them with, hey, in 2 days, you got a 6 hour, 7 hour job. Dang, what they got? Let me see their inventory. I don't know if you got that part, Ryan, from the guys. The most annoying part ever. Let me see their inventory, what they got on their inventory. Why does it matter? You just know they were quoted 7 hours, meaning that is going to be a long day.
Yeah, we kind of a two point. Initially, we wouldn't let anybody know what they were doing. Basically, it was like, yes, you're working tomorrow. So that's how we kind of pre-ran it. Is that you knew at 4 or 5 o'clock on a Monday what you were doing on a Tuesday, or if you're basically working. And we had a lot of call outs, a lot of no shows, and just a lot of people not being prepared for the job. So we kind of stepped back and looked, and we're like, man, imagine if we didn't know. Imagine if you and I didn't know what we're getting into each day of our lives with work. Right now, some days there's going to be curveballs and things like that. We've got to react to whatever. So we started booking the guys out as long as we could. So they'd have a minimum a week or two snapshot of every job that they're going to be on. And for us, that helped them to kind of prep and plan and prepare. Like we knew, hey, Monday and Tuesday are going to be real heavy days for us. We got 2 back-to-back 7,000-pound locals. But guess what? Wednesday is a light day. We got 20,000 pounds coming into the warehouse. Thursday, we're driving again. We're doing this, 10,000 pound interstate, whatever. And then Friday's a little bit lighter day. So we found that the more info we gave to the guys up front allowed them to kind of prepare, dress, pack, and do whatever accordingly. Because me personally, I want to know, am I working in the warehouse today? Or am I going out on a 7,000 pound local with a 3-story walk up?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring different shoes for that job versus shoes in the warehouse. I'm probably going to dress differently working in the warehouse versus being out on a 90-degree day, running stairs and humping furniture. So
Exactly.
it stopped our call outs. The no shows basically just ended, and the guys were actually excited. And they found things on that inventory, on the cube sheet, on our virtual surveys that I might have potentially missed. So it actually brought a greater customer experience to the customer because our guys knew what they were walking into before they went to the house. They knew the hot buttons. They knew the layout of the home. They already had a good grasp of what this customer was already like, rather than just showing up and not having a clue what they're getting into. So we've had good success with that. I know other companies do it completely different, and they still have great success. So you just got to figure out what works for you and your team.
Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. But like Ryan said, most of these, and maybe he didn't say this part, but most CRMs currently right now have that option when you schedule your guys, they can see what's going on that job. You can limit it, you can filter it so that they don't see pricing and stuff like that, but they can see the scope of the work that they're getting into. They can see how long the job is. They can complain too. But with that being said, again, full disclosures. Hey guys, this is a big job. This is a 5,000 to 10,000 pound type job. It's gonna be a little day. Well, 5,000 not too bad, but it's gonna be a little day. And Now they come prepared as possible. Now some of our guys, what it wasn't the size of the job that got our guys. It was like sometimes because we paid a certain way with their travel, they were like, oh, well, I want to go the distance job. I want to go from, Massachusetts to Maryland that day. Can I switch with that driver, whatever the case is? And that other driver might say, oh, I can't make that drive today. I got to be home at a certain time for the family. So me and the two drivers can switch. Even though we like to keep them in teams and work with their team, we can switch the drivers around unless the whole team wanted to be switched around. We can switch the drivers around and we can say, hey, this guy, he could take your team today. He's another A lead who could take on your B team or whatever the case is. And we wouldn't call it that. We call it out like that, but and then switch them around and they can still get the job done. So that was definitely a surplus to knowing what they were getting into that day, especially if they had to drive far.
All right, guys, my name is Brandon. I'm with Max Move Management, and here's 11 steps on how to have a perfect move. The first one, the office should call, or your dispatcher should call the customer 2 days prior to arrival. The reason for this is just in case the customer has a closing on the house, maybe they weren't able to secure, a babysitter for the child or a pet sitter. You definitely want to call 2 days in advance. This helps the customer be prepared, and you make sure that you as well know that you're going to a customer that's also prepared. 2, the crew should also call the customer prior to arrival to the home. After the guys have already geared up, you got all your equipment in your truck, you got your address punched into your GPS, go ahead and either the driver or the helper, give the customer a call or a quick text, let them know that you're en route to your location and provide them with the ETA. This also sets the expectation for the customer to be back home just in case they want to drop their kids off to school. For the third one, look to keep the customer happy, break the ice in the beginning. So pretty much this means when you walk up to the house, knock on the door with your best mannerism that your mother taught you or father, you knock on the door, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm the foreman. This is my helper. And you introduce the team that you have with you.
Yep.
So we are at that mark, yeah. So, definitely make sure that, again, if you guys haven't checked out Moving Force, we are on the East Coast. So definitely check us out. We are doing some big things. We are also helping in your marketing area right now if you need help in that area. So reach out. SuperMove is on the go. You can check out their website, see where they're going. If you are a big company that's worth seeing, definitely go on their website and make sure that you sign up so that they can stop at your location and they'll probably do some branding as well to get you out there. But I'll leave it off to
Exactly.
Ryan.
No, it's exactly what we're doing. So we're traveling the country to meet all the elite movers across the U.S., see how they operate, see kind of the culture within the organization, and I've shot probably I don't know 6, 7 hours worth of footage in the past few days for moving companies that we're going to put together and tailor up and give that them so they can use that to market their services and their people. And we're just out there telling the story of the hardworking men and women. And I'll tell you, I rode in a truck the other day. It was the most fun I've had in a long time. Had to go to the tow shop because there was a transmission, whatever the case was, got in the truck. And, I'm just sitting in the truck recording the driver and just asking questions about his teammates and the culture and everything under the sun. And it's just really, really cool. And it's what I really loved is when I asked, hey, who on your team deserves the peak MVP trophy? Right? Because there's always one person I feel like that, always deserves something. And everybody I ask in this organization is like, it's not one person. Everybody deserves a trophy on this team because if we don't have from that first call in, if they don't handle that call in, that sales guy doesn't do his job correctly and review the process and provide a really accurate estimate, what have you. And then the crew's got to come out and they've got to execute. He's like, it takes the whole team. So this whole team deserves a trophy. So it was really cool to, talk to warehouse folks, talk to drivers, talk to laborers, talk to the executive team, move coordinators, operations guys, and just kind of hear it from them. We've lived it, like we know it, right? But, I've been out for 2.5 years here, and it's just cool to get back in it and really see what drives these guys and
Definitely.
girls, ladies, I should say, not girls.
All right, y'all. So we will see y'all next week. Pending Ryan isn't on another tour, but we either way we'll find a way.
I'll be
Um,
out next week, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be in New York or Philly, but yeah, I'm heading to Boston here this weekend to pick up the trip. I got two moving companies here in my hometown, Elmira, that I'm doing some work with, starting at 10:15. So I'm gonna have to jump here real quick as well and change. But yeah, I'll be around next Thursday.
All right, y'all. So keep crushing it out there. If you're not crushing it out there, reach out to Moving Force or Max Moving Training, and we are here to help you either way, whether it's consultation or we got some training, free training on our website, maxmovingtraining.com. Um, get right. It's about that time. It's busy season. It don't last forever. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.